Hi, this is Nancy Ralsma with Quilting with Nancy. Thank you for joining me today. Um, I want to make this a quick video, which doesn't happen very often. Every time I think I'm going to make it quick, it's not. So please know that I'm trying to make this a quick video because what I want to do with this video is introduce a new product from joggles.com. So this is the new 9 by 12 gel press plate. So if you've not known anything about gel press printing and what I do with it on fabric, there's a link below to all of my playlists showing all the different things that I do. But I want to introduce to you today this new plate. So it's really, really exciting for a lot of reasons. One of the main reasons is that Barb at Joggles is a real good friend of mine, and I'm so happy that she finally has the size plate that she's always wanted to get produced. So, and it's in conjunction with Elizabeth St. Hilaire. So you'll hear more about her. If you go to joggles.com or go to Joggles YouTube channel, you'll see a lot of videos with her too. So this is it. So I thought I'd kind of make this like an unpacking video. So I got this maybe about 5 days ago, and it has been just killing me not to open it until I could do it on camera. So it is going to come in a clamshell container, which you can store it in for a long, 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 long time. And once you get into it, you're going to see that there are two pieces of a heavyweight plastic. That's what I'm going to call it. It probably has a more official name. You need to remove those pieces of plastic, and they will not go back on. So before I take this part off, they will not go back onto your plate. You are not going to store them with that plastic. These are going to go off. You can use them for other crafty kinds of things. I know Elizabeth likes to use them to help organize her stencils. So to each his own, right? Then you are also going to get this little booklet that has, this is one of Elizabeth St. Hilaire's paper paintings. Keep in mind, she prints on paper. I print on fabric because I'm a quilter and she's a canvas artist. Okay, so little bit of instruction on the inside. You got to kind of like it, cleaning and storing, that kind of an idea. And then also down here, just a few pictures of some of Elizabeth and Barb's great designs, okay? On the back, oh, more instructions. Okay, let's get creative. So this is going to be stored in your clamshell, but I want you to remember to always store it like this. So I consider it, you can't see it. Here, let's go to the other one. I like to store it like a book. So I kind of imagine it's in my bookcase. So all of my gel press plates are stored like this. Why? Because I'm afraid of accidentally storing it like this and then putting something on it and something on it and something on it. And those little imprints will stay. So you don't want to do that. Always store it up like this. And, with a little bit of care, the clamshell will last for a while. There is a metal tin for storing plates, but honestly, I haven't checked to see if this one will fit because it is bigger than the others. There is an 8 by 10, there's a 12 by 12, there's some 6 by 6s, those kinds of things, but this is it. Okay, it just cracks me up because it's like this gooey, kind of moldable sort of a plastic. And that's what makes it work. So I'm going to move this. And this is just a glass plate. So this is an old Cricut one that I had. But you want to find yourself a piece of tempered glass that you can set the plate on. I just find it works so much better. And I'm going to try and get those air bubbles out. So I'm going to do it this way instead. Oops, slow it down, Nancy. Wow. There you go. Those are my sound effects for bubbles. All right. So this is it. Now I want you to keep in mind that as I'm doing this, the first couple of pulls that I make will have this kind of bubbliness to them, but know that after you've used your plate for a little while, that goes away, which is a good thing or a bad thing. I like the bubbles that show up, but then sometimes I'm not able to get a really, really solid base coat. But then at the same time, once it goes away, sometimes I wish I had it. So you can actually get it back, I guess, if you will, by not using your plate very much, which that's just a very, very sad story, and I don't recommend you do that. But just know that when I'm painting right now, you're going to see these kind of bubbles on here. Now, I am using, let's see if I can find the picture. these paints. These are Dilutions paints. This is a very high quality, high pigment, fluid acrylic at a very, very good price point. And you can find all of the colors of this at joggles.com. Okay. Back there we are. This is where we want to be. Oops, I almost went away a little bit too fast. I'm also going to be using stencils from Joggles, and I'm going to show you one using a stencil and then also one using a mask and explain why one would be maybe better for you than another, but I hopefully you'll be able to cover that. This particular one I think is called like Seashells or something. Seascape, that is it, by Elizabeth. And this other one is one of her in the Peacock collection by Elizabeth St. Hilliers. And when you're on Joggle's website, never thought to show you this, anytime you see this little purple dot, pink dot on it, that means that it's one of Elizabeth's designs. So these are just a few of the new ones that I picked up. I'm a little bit obsessed. I maybe have more of them than I need. What's need, right? So I'm also going to be using a brayer, just a brayer that rolls really, really well. And on purpose, I'm going to use some high contrast colors so that maybe you can see better what I pull. This is a high quality muslin. I use a high quality muslin. It does not have to be PFD fabric. You can if you want. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. I just use a high quality muslin. That's going to mean muslin that runs, $4 a yard, not $2 a yard. You want it to be high quality. I personally don't pre-wash mine, never have. I don't pre-wash any of my quilting fabrics. It works great. It's totally permanent on fabric. So I'm going to get that question. But can I use it in my quilts? Yeah, check out the ones behind me. So the one over here on this side is my fractured glass design, all done with painted fabrics. The one on this side, all except the border and the stars, done in my painted fabrics. This one's called Painted Stars. You can find both of those patterns on my website, which is www.quiltingwithnancy.com. And I'll try and get them links below. All right. So here we go. We're going to take first our Dilutions. And this probably is not the exact color that it was. I love these bottles, so I usually will use them to mix other colors together. This one was called Polished Jade. It's a really, really beautiful kind of green blue. There we go. Now I'm going to use my brayer and I'm going to push the paint around or roll the paint around onto my plate, just getting good coverage from end to end. The whole idea of having a 9 by 12 plate is to get bigger prints. And you can kind of see that bubbling. Actually, it's not happening as much as I thought it might. I've gotten new plates before that when I do this, I get a lot of bubbling, but this is only having just a few. So to start, I like to always have 2 base pieces ready. So I will usually do either 2 of the exact same color or, just a slight difference in the color because I want it to coordinate with the second piece the second color I'm going to use. And then we pull it up. I'm going to set that over here. Now I'm going to do it again. And this time there is still paint left on. So I'm going to maybe not use quite as much because not only is there paint on the plate, but there's also paint on my brayer. Yep, that was the perfect amount. That never happens. I always put too much or too little. I'm getting good at this because that was the perfect amount. So 1 here. Now just for kicks and giggles, because I want to show you how it works with a stencil and or a mask, I want to do 1 more. So let's have this one pick up. And because it's fabric, you've got to give it a minute. You've got to press it down. You've got to let it absorb. You don't got to wait forever, but you want to give it some time to absorb. All right. So there's my second one, and I'm just going to do 1 more. Going to try, to put on I probably put on too much. I just know it. Nope, I think that was perfect. This plate is a little bigger than what I'm generally used to working with, so I've got to get a little bit more used to adding the paint to it. I'm so surprised that those little bubbles aren't showing up. Oh, and you want to cut your fabric about 1 inch bigger all the way around than the plate that you're using. So I'm using the 9 by 12 plate. That means that I cut my fabric 10 by 13-ish. No, super exact measurements. It just doesn't need to be. All right, let's leave that for a sec. All right, and pull that up. So there is still some paint on here. I want to just use kind of what I'm going to call a scrap piece just to try to pick a little bit more up, only because I'm doing a high contrast for my second one. So you don't have to. I usually just leave it there, in all truthfulness. So just that little bit more came up. And I'm going to clean off my brayer. I have my apron on, and I'm just going to run the brayer on my apron so that the majority of that blue, let me even try this. Yep, I want to get that blue off. Now I could just grab another brayer, but in this case I'm not gonna. I just took the paint off. Now I want you to keep in mind that when you're doing this, you are not mixing this pink with this turquoise. We are layering the pink and the turquoise. That's why I needed to clean off my brayer or switch to another brayer. Sometimes I'll use one brayer for warms and one brayer for cools because I'm not generally prone to cleaning off my brayer. It just isn't in my repertoire. I just let the paint stay, and sooner or later, when a big enough coat of it gets on there, it actually will peel off. So now I'm going to put seascapes down. So here's the wow factor. This is a 9 by 12 plate. This is a 9 by 12 stencil. And look, it's even got a little bit more on the outside. See that? So the plate is technically a smidgen bit bigger than my stencil. And what that means is that I'm going to have my whole entire piece of fabric covered on a bigger piece. Now we are all, well, I'm a quilter, so I think that's awesome because now I'm going to have a bigger piece of fabric with this super cool design to work on. So when I'm doing this, putting the stencil down, the first one is what I'm going to call my positive print. This is going to pull up all of the print not under the stencil, right? So want to take your hands again, remembering not only is this fabric, but there's really great detail in these stencils. So just take some time, push through. Yeah, your hands, well, that's hardly even dirty compared to normal when I'll be printing for a whole day. My hands will be totally covered in paint, and I'm okay with that. It'll come off my hands. It will not come off fabric. As I'm pulling this up now, I'm going to see, did I miss any details, right? So I can look down here and go, oh, all right, I see more paint here, right? So I want to press a little bit more there, trying to get as much of the paint up as I can just because I want that design, right? So here is my positive print. So this is Seascapes with the teal black back and the pink on it, okay? So now I'm going to put that to the side. I'm going to peel this up. You can clean your stencils any way you like. I actually am not a stencil cleaner either. At the most, I might put it down on one of my other plates to pick up some of the extra. Now I'm going to take another one of my base coats. This is that other teal base coat. And I'm going to put this down to now get the ghost print. The ghost print is what's been left behind by the stencil. Now I want you to keep in mind, typically I would tell you to leave this down for 15 minutes, but I just don't know that you want to wait 15 minutes. And really, it's not a hardcore 15 minutes. It's just however long it takes for it to pick up as much as possible because you are going to get the best ghost prints the longer that it is down. In truth, when it's time for me to decide I want to clean my plate, I just leave it just like this overnight and come down in the morning and peel it up, and then my plate is perfectly clean. You can clean the plate between times if you want with a wet wipe or baby oil or put it under soap and water, mild soap, but you could do that. All right, so I'm going to try this and see how my ghost print. All right, it's coming up pretty good. And you can't see, man, I really thought I can see the design on here. I can see what was left behind. I don't know that if you guys can really, there it is a little bit right there. So it's a soft one in truth. I would probably look at this and go, yep, I'm going to do something else on top of it. This first one, I think is fine. I wouldn't do anything on top of it. I would use this in a quilt right now if I needed a quilt with this color. The ghost print in this case did not turn out quite as spectacular, but I got to tell you, you never know. You really, really never know if the first print is going to be the best or the ghost print's going to be the best, but that's okay. It's not broke. Once you've done your first pull, then it's your opportunity to add something to it until it is just what you want. And as you watch some of my past videos, you're going to see where I use lots of different things to add a little bit more to the paint that I will then, to the fabric that I will then use in my quilts. So I want to show you one more thing here. That was done with a stencil, right? So this seascape stencil, and it has a border on it. So if we look at our original pull, this one here, you can see that the design goes to about here, and then there was that little bit of this little rim on it right here, and then a little bit bigger just because the plate's a smidge bigger. I want to show you the idea of doing the same thing, but with a stencil mask that has no border. All right. So look at how cool this is. And I've never before been able to put this down and get all the design. Usually it's like over here. So I can only get this much of the design. So I'm super excited to see what happens when I put it on here with that last base that I made using one of the stencil masks. And I don't know the official way to tell you which is which, but one that doesn't have the little border going around it. This should get me a piece of fabric that is design and paint all the way to the edge. So when using this plate, I think I am going to use more of these stencil masks than the ones with the borders. Move it just a little bit over because I want to get the whole thing. Look at that. The whole thing fits. This is very exciting. Now I'm going to use that last base that I made. Try and put that on where the blue is right to the edge in this case. And now I'm going to pick up through that mask stencil mask, however you want to. And I'm sure that somebody out there is going to say, well, a mask is da 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 da, and a stencil is da 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 da, and that's okay. To me, it doesn't really matter the official terms. I'm not an art teacher. I'm a quilter. I just want to make beautiful fabrics of my very own to get design. All right, a little bit more here. All right, this should be really cool. I've never done it before because it's the first time I've used this plate. Yeah, look at that. So there is no border on the design. This is the one that I did using the seascapes, and the seascape stencil has that little border, that little 1/4 of an inch, which no big deal. We do 1/4 of an inch seams anyway, but I do love the idea of this, where this is a true full piece of design. This extra is only where I actually cut the fabric a little bit bigger. So this one shows up beautifully too. This is one of Elizabeth's peacock peacock mask stencils kind of thing. So big introduction, the new gel press plate by Joggles, and it's being made by the same gel press people. So it's still a fabulous, fabulous product, just like I've liked all the other products. And it's 9 by 12. It is available now at Joggles. And if you've ever shopped at Joggles, you're going to know that she always has some really good discounts going on. So check out Joggles. I'd appreciate it if you use the links that I'm going to put below the video because that will have direct links to her website. And honestly, I'm an affiliate, which means every time you make a purchase through those links, I get a little bit of money, which means, woohoo, I get to buy more paint, more stencils, all of that kind of stuff. So hope you enjoy this. Like I mentioned, the playlist for all the instructional videos I've done where painting on fabric are in the links below. So you'll have lots of great ideas. Thanks for joining me. Leave comments in the comment section or send me an email at quiltingwithnancy@gmail.com. Have a great day.